A narcissist doesn't truly love themselves. They love the mask they wear. And to keep that mask from cracking, they're willing to sacrifice even their soul. In today's video, we'll take a deeper look into that conflicted world to understand, to heal, and to stop blaming ourselves. You probably heard that narcissists are people who love themselves too much, that they're overly confident, obsessed with their appearance, or constantly seeking attention. But the truth is far more complicated and much more painful. A narcissist doesn't actually love themselves. They love the image of themselves. They worship the mask. Behind the charm, the confidence, and the perfectly curated version of their life lies a deep fear of being seen as ordinary, vulnerable, or flawed. That's why they build a version of themselves that seems untouchable. And once that mask is in place, they'll do whatever it takes to protect it, even if it means lying, manipulating, or destroying the very people who care about them. You may have fallen for one, and you may still be trying to understand what went wrong. Why did they seem so perfect at first, only become distant, cold, or even cruel? Why did you feel so special, then so invisible? In this video, we're not here to attack anyone. We're here to understand what narcissism really is, how it affects relationships, and most importantly, how it affects you. Because once you see the truth behind the mask, you'll begin to realize it was never your fault. You were just trying to love someone who never truly existed. Let's begin. 1. When you fall in love with someone who isn't real. You meet them and it feels like something out of fairy tale. They listen to everything you say. They compliment you as if you're the most special person in the world. They reply to texts instantly, say all the right things, and make you feel truly seen. You believe you found someone who understands and appreciates you. But what you don't realize is that this is just the idealization phase, a familiar pattern from narcissists. During this stage, they don't actually love you. They love the way you make them feel. Admired, adored, important. You're a mirror reflecting back the perfect image they constructed of themselves. Then slowly, when they sense that you're no longer feeding that image, that you start to need love in return, to be seen for your feelings, everything begins to shift. Texts slow down. Their eyes turn colder. You feel something's off, but you can't name it. They're no longer the person who once made your heart race. They begin to subtly put you down with harmless-sounding phrases like, "You're too sensitive," "I was just joking," or "You remember that wrong." This is when devaluation begins, and you start doubting your own reality. You're stuck in limbo, between beautiful memories and a painful present. You try harder, become more agreeable, avoid conflict, hoping to get that initial love back. But the more you give, the more you feel like everything is your fault. Because narcissists don't take responsibility. They make you carry it. 2. The mask matters more than love. One of the most painful realizations in loving a narcissist is this. Love is never more important than their image. You can forgive. You can wait. You can endure endless cycles of hurt. But the moment you speak the truth, the moment you say you've been hurt or that something feels wrong, you become the enemy. Why? Because you've threatened the mask they built. A narcissist cannot tolerate being seen as wrong, weak, or hurtful. So when you try to reach the real person beneath, the part they themselves are terrified of, they push back hard. They twist the story, paint you as the unstable one. They gaslight, they guilt trip, or they disappear altogether, leaving you in silence, confused and heartbroken. And when they walk away, you don't just mourn the person. You mourn the version of yourself you became in that relationship. Always questioning, always bending, always hoping. You start to believe that if you had just been less emotional, less demanding, less yourself, maybe they wouldn't have pulled away. But here's the truth. No one is enough for someone who can't love authentically. Real love requires vulnerability, honesty, and accountability. But narcissists can't go there. Not because they're evil, but because they're afraid. Afraid of being exposed. Afraid of losing control. Afraid of their own reflection. So they choose the mask. Every time. 3. When you finally see clearly, you know it wasn't you. Maybe you're still in a relationship, or maybe they've already left, and you're left wondering what happened. But once you see the cracks in the mask, you can't unsee them. You start noticing everything you once ignored. The way they silenced you when you tried to speak up. The way they made you feel guilty for simply feeling. The way they disappeared when you needed comfort, then reappeared when you pretended everything was fine. These aren't coincidences. They're patterns, a loop that keeps you addicted to feeling wanted, then abandoned. You once thought you were too weak, but in reality, your empathy is what made you vulnerable. Your open heart, not your flaws, is what got used against you. And that's when the awakening begins. You realize you don't need to be better to be loved. You just need to be aware enough to walk away, or at least to protect your own heart. Narcissists aren't monsters. They're trapped behind their own mask. But you don't have to live behind it too. You get to choose truth, even when it hurts. You get to choose self-worth over the constant chase for validation. And when you realize that, you'll finally stop blaming yourself. You'll begin to heal. There's a moment, quiet, often painful, when the illusion finally breaks. You stop romanticizing the what-ifs. You stop chasing the person you thought they were. And instead, you begin to ask a different question. What did this teach me about myself? Because as much as narcissists leave scars, they also hold up a mirror, not to shame you, but to show you the places that long to be loved. So deeply, you were willing to accept breadcrumbs. You learn that love without empathy is not love. That charm is not character. That attention is not intimacy. And most of all, you learn to recognize the difference between someone who wants you and someone who values you. And most of all, you learn to recognize the difference between someone who wants you and someone who values you. And most of all, you learn to recognize the difference between someone who wants you and someone who values you. And most of all, you learn to recognize the difference between someone who wants you and someone who values you. And most of all, you learn to recognize the difference between someone who wants you and someone who values you. That is your truth now. Hold on to it. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this video resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. If you found value in this, please give a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. It truly helps us grow and reach more people who need this kind of healing. Don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss a new video. You're not alone, and you deserve to heal. See you in the next one.